The Israel government has approved a plan to increase the population of the annexed Golan Heights following the fall of Bashar al-Assad in Syria. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said his government has unanimously approved $11 million plan for the demographic development of the Golan. The Golan is home to about 23,000 Druze Arabs whose presence predates the occupation, and most of whom retain Syrian citizenship, as well as around 30,000 Israelis. In a statement, Netanyahu's office said, and I'm quoting, "We will continue to establish ourselves there, develop it, and settle there," quote unquote. This as Israel continues to strike Syria. A Syrian war monitor said Israeli strikes had targeted military sites in coastal Tartus region, calling them the heaviest strikes in the area in more than a decade. However, Israel claims it does not want a conflict with Syria.
We have no interest in confronting Syria. We will determine Israel's policy towards Syria according to the emerging reality on the ground. I remind you that for decades, Syria was an active enemy state to Israel. It attacked us again and again. It allowed others to attack us from its territory. It allowed Iran to arm Hezbollah through its territory.
The leader of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS, Abu Muhammad al-Golani, met with the United Nations envoy, Geir Pedersen, who is on a visit to Damascus. Golani discussed with Pedersen the changes that have occurred on the political scene and underscored the need to update a 2015 United Nations Security Council resolution to suit the new reality. HTS is rooted in Syria's branch of Al-Qaeda, the Al-Nusra Front. The UN Security Council Resolution 2254 of 2015, to which the rebel statement referred, mentions Nusra's terrorist designation. During the meeting, in fact, Pedersen told Golani that Nusra was listed by the UNSC as a terrorist organization was obviously a complicating factor, quote unquote, in efforts to find a way forward. Meanwhile, after the US, the UK has confirmed establishing diplomatic contact with HTS. Britain's Foreign Secretary David Lammy acknowledged that the HTS remain a designated terrorist organization, but listed the need for a representative and inclusive government in Syria and the destruction of Assad-era chemical weapons stockpiles as a reason to maintain diplomatic contact. On the same day, the Foreign Ministry announced the release of $63 million of humanitarian aid for the most vulnerable Syrians. In another development, meanwhile, Qatar's embassy to Syria is to resume operations on Tuesday. The Gulf Emirate made the announcement as its diplomats visited the country and met with the transitional government. It also named a new head of mission to Syria, Khalifa Abdullah al-Mahmoud al-Sharif. Doha, remember, closed its embassy in Damascus and recalled its ambassador in July 2011, early in the uprising against the Assad government that turned into a civil war. And our correspondent Jody Cohen has been tracking those developments. She sent us this report. Take a look.
Israel has announced a plan to double its population on the Israeli side of the Golan Heights, along the buffer zone between Israel and Syria. There are also reports that Israel is continuing its strikes against military targets. Prime Minister Netanyahu said that Israel does not want conflict with Syria. He suggested that Israel is bolstering security and targeting advanced weaponry to stop it ending up in hostile hands. While some countries have criticized Israel for the moves, U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said that Israel is trying to identify potential threats, both conventional and weapons of mass destruction, that could threaten Israel and others, and to neutralize those threats. And White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby said that the U.S. recognizes that Israel lives in a tough neighborhood and supports Israel's right to defend itself. This is Jody Cohen for WION World is One.
To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.